What's going on, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be covering something that I haven't covered on the channel before, and that is marijuana stocks. So the marijuana sector has obviously been probably over the past year and a half the most explosive sector outside of, say, cryptocurrency. The companies here are, some of them are pretty stable companies, some of them are extremely speculative, but people have made explosive returns. And a couple of really interesting things happened just because of the election results and kind of the issues with Jeff Sessions resigning. A lot of possible really big movements are going to be happening in the marijuana sector because a lot of this is kind of a green light possible for marijuana in the future here in the States and possibly around globally because of the ripple effect. So I'm just going to be going over, kind of this news article and kind of what that really means for people that are in, marijuana stocks. I've been following this sector recently over the past couple of weeks. And honestly, I'll be honest, I don't currently have money invested in marijuana stocks. I believe in the industry wholeheartedly, and I believe it's going to be a huge industry in the future. But because of things, mainly because of things legal in America, I think there are going to be major roadblocks along the way for companies in this space. So it's going to be really difficult, I think, for them to really gain a footing, except for ones like, say, cannabis growth, which I think is probably the one posed to take the majority of market share over the next decade. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of how this all plays out. And this is just something different I figured I'd talk about on the channel. I know it's a hot topic. I know a lot of my viewers are into marijuana stocks and have asked me for, coverage of it. So I'm just going to kind of go over the big stuff that happened today and kind of what I see that happening for the space over the long term. Obviously, so now as of today, there are now 33 states in the U.S. that now have recreationally legal marijuana, which is really impressive because it doesn't really matter how you look at it. On the federal and the state side, states obviously are going in the direction of fully legalizing marijuana. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult for the federal level to fully legalize the drug, but this is one step closer. With Jeff Sessions now leaving, he just resigned as of today because of bullying from Donald Trump. Sessions was one of the biggest, say, anti-marijuana users in, say, the government, and now that the fact that he is leaving kind of has the ability to pave the way for marijuana to become a respected sector and really start to have its place in say the United States and really get the ball rolling for federally legalizing the whole the substance and the plant. So we don't know yet because we don't know how his successor is going to really view recreational and or medical marijuana. But it's very interesting now because it seems that Jeff Sessions was one of the biggest pillars against this industry really taking off. So the fact that he is now resigning, you saw all of the major marijuana stocks jump today. I think the majority of them are up over 8-10%, which is pretty impressive. I know a lot of people are trading them, and if you've been trading marijuana stocks properly, you are making a lot of money. But I am someone who is very bullish on the industry over the next 10 years. As of right now, I haven't been able to justify buying into the space, but it's very, very interesting with what's going on. A couple of other things that are going on. There's a lot of people speculating that Illinois and other states are going to be soon finally allowing recreational marijuana soon, based off of their results from the past election. There was a state, North Dakota, that did vote against recreational marijuana, and so obviously the whole schema around marijuana being bad and not being something that's for the U.S. in a sense is still kind of present, but obviously we can see with more than half of the United States now making weed legal across the board. I definitely think that over the next 10 years we're looking at a federally legal substance, and the fact that it will just be the equivalent of going out to buy a can of beer, buying a joint or a can of beer at the local supermarket. So that'll be really interesting to see, kind of how that plays out. Again, not invested in the space yet, but I'm very interested in the space and think it's going to be a huge space in the future. So I definitely like to keep up to date with everything that's going on here. I will say, and just a quick, synopsis, I do think that cannabis growth is probably my pick. Say, I know a lot of you you have your favorite cannabis company. A lot of people like Roar, a lot of people like Tilray, a lot of people like Cannabis Growth. And personally, after the research I've done, Cannabis Growth probably has the smartest approach. One, because it's based in Canada and it has the ability to already ship out, around the world to any place that is accepting marijuana on a federal level. They're also the company that owns the brand Tweed, which is they're attempting to create, say, the beer equivalent of marijuana. And so when that starts to roll out in, say, the States eventually, or say in Canada, that's a brand name that will be recognized for this individual company. And as of a few articles that I was reading about, when recreational marijuana was put out in Canada on a fully federal level, a lot of people didn't know what brand of marijuana they were buying. They were just looking for marijuana. They were going to buy it, smoke it, eat it, whatever. And that was it. They didn't really have a brand recognition. And I think that will hurt a lot of marijuana companies going to the future, because if you don't have that strong brand name, this is essentially a commodity. So the fact that they are really focusing on, say, tweed as being a beverage, so you don't have all the negative side effects of smoking, and you can decide whether you want to get high off of it, just relax you, or, you know, just for the taste. Those are definitely important things, I think, for the company going forward, to really, you know, stick in with, say, changing consumer trends, and also making sure that they don't just get washed up as, say, a standard marijuana stock 10 years from now, and they're really separating themselves from the commodity aspect of the industry, which is something I find really interesting, something I think that they're executing very well on. Constellation Brands, I believe, I believe it's about $8 billion now invested in cannabis growth, and so Constellation Brands is the company that makes Corona and a couple of other major alcohols and distributes around the world. So the fact that a serious player, say in the vice space, is dumping money into cannabis growth, is willing to, say, you know, help them bottle and mass ship out tweed to anybody that's able to do it, I think cannabis growth is in the best position to really benefit long term. The levels that all of the marijuana stocks are at right now, honestly, I think that a bit of them are overvalued for at least what they're currently doing. Like, obviously, the potential, you know, of this space, the sky's the limit. For right now, I can't see myself buying into cannabis growth, at least anything more than a few percent of my portfolio, you know, just as a speculative play. Because obviously, there's going to be a lot of volatility over the next couple of months and even possible few years of the marijuana sector, and they could have explosive growth, you know, rivaling even what happened with the cryptocurrency market. But investing it as a business and not, say, using it as a speculative play, I personally just do not feel comfortable yet in investing in a company yet. But based off of, you know, looking at where the companies are going, not necessarily the financials, because the majority of these companies aren't financially stable, except for Canopy Growth having a mound of cash from an investment from Constellation Brands. I think it's a little bit too speculative for me to say, like, okay, this price is bottom whatever it's going to be, you know, 10 years from now. I'm just going to throw my money that I plan on investing in marijuana right now. I definitely think there are going to be better opportunities to buy into the sector in the future, especially once, say, the U.S. ever turns and decides to make the industry federally legal. That'll be huge, and there could possibly be U.S. companies that really start to take market share and are better than all the current players. So that'll be really interesting to say. And so this video was just kind of a quick one. I just want to do a quick recap of this industry, because I do find this industry very, it's pretty interesting, and it's also the next possible, like, big wave. So, like, this would, you know, investing in the cannabis industry right now could be investing like alcohol right after Prohibition. Obviously, we're, at least in the U.S., we haven't fully closed our Prohibition, but we're getting there, and I personally think we will go that way. You guys know I'm in Massachusetts, so weed's been recreationally legal here for a little while now, and I've been to a couple of the places that it's been recreationally legal for a long period of time, and definitely consumer trends change very quickly, and a lot of people become very open to marijuana once it's no longer illegal and everybody seems to be doing it. You start to look around and you see rec shops more often than coffee shop. So I definitely think that America will be going in that direction, and that's just kind of my update with the sector. I know I don't cover it. Let me know if you guys want me to cover this sector more, but that was just something interesting I thought after the news today. This is some pretty interesting news, and it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out in the next couple of months. So I hope you guys like this. I know it wasn't really a formal video. You know, this was kind of just you know, I was just reading a couple of articles, and I thought that this was pretty interesting, especially for people that are invested in cannabis. So let me know if you guys are invested in the cannabis industry, or if you think it's going to be going places, or if you think that the whole thing's too speculative and you're just kind of waiting on the sidelines like I am. Let me know, and let me know if you guys want me to cover marijuana stocks more so. I know it's a big topic that a lot of people are into, but just because I don't invest in it, I haven't covered it that often. But if you guys want, I have no problem in covering a sector that I'm not invested in, as long as I understand it, and I understand the marijuana industry pretty well. So hope you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.